right, good morning. Thank you for joining us today for our biweekly press conference. Able to give you some updates on a couple of events, some homicide updates, as well as release body camera footage from the officer-involved incident from the 4th Division where we had 2 officers that were shot by a suspect. So we'll start off with our crime overview as we do every week. We're sitting at currently 137 homicides compared to 134 last week. 344 non-fatal shootings. You can see that's down 9%. And then our robberies and carjackings are sitting at 144 compared to 132 this year. I'll emphasize again, this is something that we're always working on. It doesn't matter if these numbers are up, down. We're always looking for them to go down, and we're making sure that we put our resources in the places that they need to be to address that issue. And we'll talk about the crime plan a little bit and how that factors into this a little later on. At this point, I want to introduce you to Lieutenant Les Skaggs. He's the commander of our homicide unit. He's going to give you a little bit of information about some of the work they've been doing, as well as some outstanding cases he wants to discuss. Thank you.
Good morning. As you can see, we've cleared 46 criminal homicides this year. We've cleared 77 non-fatal shootings, and we've made 79 federal indictments. Case I want to talk to you about today it actually involves 3 homicide cases that occurred in 2024. All 3 of these cases occurred in one block in Louisville. They're all currently unsolved. They occurred in the 1000 block of Esquire Alley. We do not believe these cases are related in any way. These cases started in May 14th at 1039 Esquire Alley. Stephon Adams was killed. On August 21st at 1055 Esquire Alley, Chantel Potter was killed. And on November 7th at 1003 Esquire Alley, Edward Laird was killed. In these 3 cases, Esquire Alley, it runs east to west, 1 block north of Broadway between 9th and 11th Street, and runs just south of the Village West Apartments. We want to emphasize these 3 cases in particular because we've had little to no witnesses come forward. We've had very few leads to solve these 3 homicides, and we need the community's support in this area, which has had numerous violent crimes. This area is also located in one of our 5 sustained focused improvement areas, and we greatly need the community's support in this. This is one of those instances where these 3 crimes are not related at all, but it's a very violent area, and we need the community's support to give us information so that we can solve these 3 criminal homicides.
Thank you, Lieutenant Skaggs. As you can see, the homicide unit is doing great work. They're clearing cases as they come in as much as they can, but this does have to be a collaborative effort. I mean, you can see we have 3 homicides in 1 block. No one deserves to live in that type of environment. And so when we talk about how we're deploying resources, we want to make sure we put them where crime occurs before it occurs, and maybe we can disrupt that crime cycle. I would much rather prevent a crime than solve one. So that is our goal, and we will continue with that, but we are asking for the community's help and support in that task. I want to go over a little bit of recruitment. We're always hiring. I need people to understand that we need officers out there. We recently got some information back about what the public desires, and the number one thing that the public is asking us for is increased patrols. People want officers in their neighborhoods. And so we are constantly looking for officers. So you can go to lmpdjobs.com, or you can scan the QR code that we have. And that's not just for sworn positions. We have numerous professional staff positions where people can serve the community in a different way and serve the police department in a different way. So if you're not interested in being a sworn officer, carrying a badge and a gun, but you enjoy this type of work, you enjoy service, check us out, get with our recruiters, and they will get you lined up with what might suit you best. Some upcoming events. We have Light Up Louisville obviously coming up, so pay attention. There'll be street closers this weekend. We'll have a healthy contingent of officers down there, but it should be a good time for families in the community to enjoy. One of the things that'll be unique this year, I think this is the first year we're doing the drone show. But there will be a drone show that's associated with Light Up Louisville that I think everybody will get a kick out of. It should be pretty neat. If anybody has any issues, holler at one of the officers that are down there, and they'll take care of you. So on our crime plan, like I said, we had the press conference releasing the crime plan recently. We've gotten some good feedback on it, but we want to emphasize that we want the community's input on how we're deploying our resources. So this QR code takes you to our survey so that you can give some feedback on what you like to see the police department doing when it comes to solving crime and taking care of the problems in the community. And remember, that's a three-part plan that deals with these immediate problems that pop up and how we're deploying resources to those, how we're dealing with violent and particularly gun offenders, as well as those sustained focus improvement areas that we see an opportunity to improve those neighborhoods holistically, and how we work with not only the community but other metro government entities. And so we're pretty proud of that plan, and we want the community's feedback on it. So please reach out to us. Now I'll turn it over at this point to Deputy Chief Emily McKinley, who will give you an introduction to the body-worn camera from the incident the other day.
Thank you, Chief. So we are going to release the body cam footage from the November 19th incident where 2 officers and a suspect were shot. This occurred during a confrontation relating to an investigation of a stolen vehicle and an arrest during that investigation. So the information that we are going to release in this video is what we have and what we are able to convey to the public at this point. It is important to note that this is an active criminal case in court, so we are limited in what we can infer and what we can release. And so this video contains a package of all the information that we can release at this point. But I just do want to reiterate that we are grateful that our officers are at home and that they are recovering, and that they were not more significantly injured than they were doing the work that they do. They are on medical leave at this point. And we'll play the video now. The video is about 10 minutes long. It will be available on our YouTube page after this press conference.
On November 19th, 2024, 2 officers with the Louisville Metro Police Department were shot in the line of duty during a confrontation with an armed suspect connected to a stolen vehicle. The suspect, identified as 19-year-old Jeremiah Thompson, also sustained gunshot wounds during the incident. Thankfully, all injuries were non-life-threatening, and everyone involved is recovering. It's important to note that all 3 individuals were struck by a single bullet fired from the suspect's handgun. The following statement provides details about the incident, accompanied by body-worn camera footage and other relevant video evidence. On the evening of November 19th, LMPD received an anonymous tip reporting a stolen vehicle parked in the 400 block of Roselane Street. That tip was forwarded to dispatch, and officers from the 4th Division were assigned to investigate. Officer James Walsh was the first to arrive on scene and observed an individual later identified as Jeremiah Thompson walking away from the suspected stolen vehicle toward a nearby townhome. Officer Walsh also noted 2 other individuals entering the same residence. The body-worn camera footage begins with Officer Walsh arriving on scene and making contact with Thompson. Shortly after, Officer Brendan Kerner arrived to assist. Upon confirming that the vehicle was stolen, Officers Walsh and Kerner attempted to detain Thompson, which led to a physical struggle that lasted over 2 minutes. During this time, Officer Laxman Acharya arrived to provide additional support. Officer Acharya used his expandable baton to assist in gaining leverage of an arm of Thompson, who continued to resist and refused to provide his hands. Officers were unaware that Thompson was armed. While officers were attempting to secure Thompson's arms and hands, a single shot was fired from a handgun in Thompson's possession. That bullet passed through Thompson's wrist and arm, then through Officer Kerner's hand, and finally entered Officer Acharya's leg. None of the officers discharged their firearms during this incident. Immediately after the gunshot, officers render aid to each other and to Thompson. All three were transported to local hospitals for treatment and later released. Louisville Metro Police Department's Public Integrity Unit has taken over the investigation. Jeremiah Thompson has been arrested and charged with assault in the first degree, assault in the second degree, wanton endangerment in the first degree, resisting arrest, and receiving stolen property. The Louisville Metro Police Department is committed to transparency and accountability. This incident highlights the unpredictable nature of policing and the courage and professionalism displayed by our officers in a difficult, intense situation. Thank you for your continued support as we work to ensure the safety and well-being of our community.
What's going on, my man? Not much. Take your hands out of your pockets for me. What are we doing in this car?
I ain't gonna lie. My friend came
Can you take your hands out of your pockets for me?
I'm sorry, sir.
Okay.
Can you get my shoe, though? Keep on honey. My shoe is in the car, but I wasn't in the car driving nothing, I swear to God. I was just getting my shoe, sir.
Okay. Who was?
Keep on honey. Swear to God, on my life, you ran that way, sir. I'm not gonna lie to you.
So wasn't you and your buddies that were
No,
just
sir. I promise
literally in the car?
I promise you, sir. Can you
Okay.
please get my shoe, please? Can I have it? Can I get it? Or can you take me over
Let me get your information first.
there?
Where'd your buddies go? I just watched them walk that way.
That's fine, but trust me. Move this way. You mind if I get it, though? Can you take me over?
No, hang on.
It's just my shoe, sir. I promise.
Did you see where they went?
Can you get my shoe, sir? Yeah, I went in there. Can you get my shoe, sir?
Inside.
Please. I just want.
You said it suits inside.
Inside the car?
Yeah.
You said they went inside here?
They're all looking out the front door.
What's your last name, boss?
Thompson.
Your first name?
Jeremiah.
Unit 429, we're holding domestic violence on 30
You wanna spell it?
for roll call.
J-E-R-E.
Same location that officers cleared from earlier. Advised the male has returned.
My man, I'm going to ask you one more time if you can take your hands out of your pockets for me,
Now
okay?
getting a report that he's leaving.
What's your birthday?
12/01/04.
21.
You know your social?
I do not.
You don't?
Okay, sir.
Give me just a second, heard me? Forward 22, David. Can you copy a tag? It's going to be Lincoln 9 Paul 878 on a silver Kia Soul.
Do you mind getting it for me?
Get what?
My shoe. Like,
Your
my
shoe?
shoe is in the car.
Yeah.
Sir.
Yeah. Give us a second, my man.
My foot is cold, so I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, man,
I'm
it's
sorry.
60 something degrees out here.
I know, like, my foot's cold. My foot is cold.
Okay.
Like, one layer of socks on. Do you mind? Like, can you take me over to get it? Or can you
No.
get it for me?
No, we're gonna wait a second. There, stop walking. Stand right here.
Yes, sir. Can I get my mom at least? Like, live right here?
No, you can wait a second. How old are you, my man?
I'm 19 years old.
19?
No reason to be in a stolen car, so I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't even have the time to do that. And the only reason I know it's stolen because the little kid stole it. All my life.
Why would your shoe be in it then?
Because I literally just took my shoe off to go grab something from inside the car. Literally. I'm not gonna lie to you. What am I gonna lock up for? Put your hands on your back.
Why are you looking at me?
Well, what are you doing? Why are you locking me up here, Don? Why are you locking me up? 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 I gotta be in the rear. Why are you locking me up? Why are you locking me up? Why are you locking me up, sir? Sir! Sir! No, they're locking me up for no reason! They're locking me up for no reason!
Who said you're getting locked up?
Oh, y'all locking me up for what?
You were just going to be detained.
For what?
But now you probably are.
For what?
For resisting.
How am I bro, y'all just sound like me for what?
We're trying to detain you.
So you didn't ask me, sir. Sir, you did not ask me, sir. Sir, you did not ask me, sir. You hear me, sir?
We have family pulling up. Someone get this car. I don't know if
Excuse
you're going to
me,
try to
ma'am?
help him or not.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm getting this detained for nothing.
My man, you were in a stolen car.
I wasn't in it. I was not driving this car. Oh my life. You're not gonna do it. Jay! Jay!
God damn it.
Sir, can you please?
We need help with him first. But there is a car that just pulled up and he's talking to him.
Jay! Jay!
421 Adams, Hartford, 2 Baker, 2 David. Again, they're in the rear of 421 Rose Lane.
But they're locking me up for nothing, Miss Nisha. Keep him in, please.
Do not walk over here. Stay over there.
But what am I doing? What am I? They're recording. What am I doing? I didn't do nothing. I'm not doing nothing. No, I'm not doing nothing, sir.
We just can't get him cuffed. He's still resisting.
Sir, no, I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. Come on, my. I can't. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
My man, give us your hands.
I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing. I'm not doing nothing.
I've got to hold it.
Ah! 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 Stop! Ah! Miss Hands! Miss Hands! Miss Hands! Miss Hands! Hands in the back! Hands in the back! Hands in the back!
Shots fired.
Help him first! Hey! Help him! Help what? Help what? I got it.
Help him first.
You shot it. Stop. I got you. Okay. Hey, right here. Right here. I didn't think so. Yeah.
Wrap this with.
You do. Okay. Go to Rich. Wrap him up. Can you do it? I need a pad. I need a pad. I got you. I need a guard. More! Oh my! Why the fuck would you do that? What the fuck? I ain't do nothing.
I mean, you won't be able to get out without them. They block you in. Well, okay, let's see what they gonna do to him. What is he?
Come on, my. I can't.
Put your
I'm
arms
not
back,
doing nothing.
baby. Put your arms
I'm
back.
not doing nothing.
Don't resist the arrest.
I'm
Put
not
your
doing
arms
nothing.
back.
I'm not doing nothing.
Okay, just
I'm
put.
not doing nothing. Ah! Ah! Ah!
So as you saw in court yesterday, there was probable cause found and the case is waived up to the grand jury at this point. That is on the charges related to the suspect. There's a lot that I could say, but I probably shouldn't. I'll just leave it at, I'm really proud of those officers. You can see that those officers didn't know that that person had a gun. Person insisted time and time again that he was doing nothing wrong, yet he's in possession of a handgun, and somehow his shoe ends up in the driver's seat of a car that he wasn't in. So you can make your own logical conclusions, but other than that, we'll let the investigation play out. On our end, administratively, this will go to the Performance Review Board. It's anytime we have an incident like this is a moment that we should learn something from it and improve. And so we're going to make sure that we do that, and we're going to continue to support those officers as they recover. And we're going to encourage officers to go out there and continue to do this type of work. You can see that tense, uncertain, and rapidly evolving situation where those officers thought they were dealing with a nonviolent crime, and then all of a sudden, 2 of them are shot. So you can understand the risks that go along with this job and what we're asking officers to go out there to do on a day-to-day basis, and how important it is that they do this type of work. While that might seem like an innocuous property crime where somebody's upset that their car was stolen, it turns out to also be a gun crime where people almost lost their lives, including the suspect at his own hands. So we're fortunate and we're grateful that that didn't happen. But you can understand that these situations that officers are in every day can turn in a moment's notice, and we're very proud of that work that those officers are doing. So we'll open it up to questions at this point.
How are the officers today?
The officers are doing well. They're recovering at home. They're on medical leave at this point. I don't have a time frame for their return.
Did the suspect pull the trigger, or was there some other action that caused the gun to go off?
We don't know that right now. That's part of the investigation of why that gun went off. I can tell you if that suspect had cooperated, that wouldn't have happened. So regardless how it happened, it's his fault still.
You mentioned that he was in possession of the gun. Was it like in a pocket somewhere?
I'm not sure exactly where.
Was he illegally in possession of that firearm, or was it legally possessed?
I believe he's only 19 years old, so to carry a handgun, it's illegal anyway.
Is there a way to figure out how that gun went off, or is it part of the investigation? And I ask because in the video, there are certain points where you can see his hand doing something, and you can see at some point officers have his hands behind him, where they're all on top of him. How did the gun exactly go off?
So that's going to have to come out in the investigation. It would be inappropriate for me to speculate how exactly the gun went off. But as I said previously, had he put his hands behind his back and cooperated with officers, everyone would be okay, and he'd be looking at much more minor charges than what he's facing today. Roberto? I'm sorry. Oh, you don't have to do that. Sorry.
You are still investigating how the gun went off. Is it more appropriate to say that it did went off versus the suspect shot officers?
The suspect's actions resulted in officers being shot. So however you say it, we can play semantics. The suspect had cooperated, he wouldn't have gotten shot, and the officers wouldn't have gotten shot. So regardless of the semantics of it, he's at fault in this situation.
Did he ever admit to driving the car? I believe in the citation it said he did. In the video, multiple times he said he didn't drive the car.
I'm not going to get into specifics on that just because of my own ignorance. I wasn't in on the interviews, but I do know he was interviewed afterwards and things like that. So his shoe was in the driver's seat. So.
Thankfully, nobody was killed in this incident or was hurt worse. From this video, what is it that LMPD wants the community to know or understand or to learn from this incident?
Well, one, I want you to understand the work that officers are doing. Right? These officers are going out there on a day-to-day basis. Obviously, having 2 officers get shot is not a common occurrence, and we're thankful for that. But what we need the community to understand is that there are officers that are out there understanding that this is a risk, and they are still willing to do it. And the other thing is that this came in through our anonymous tip line. So the anonymous tip line works, and we want people to know that we need you to call. We need your cooperation. So when we talk about cooperation with the community, that's what we need. And ultimately, someone who is involved in these types of activities has been taken off the street at this point. So we're very appreciative to the community for cooperating there. I also want to point out, because this is a problem that we do have on some scenes, is you notice the bystander who took that video did not insert herself in the middle of the situation. That's pretty notable, and it's very important. I have no problem with people recording what we do. Right? We wear body cameras. Everything we do is subject to public scrutiny. Fine with that. Keep your distance. Don't insert yourself in it, because it creates risk not just for you but for those officers as well. And so we ask that if you want to record officers, do it respectfully at a distance, and don't become part of the situation.
It was an anonymous tip that led to this arrest. You're asking for tips on Esquire Alley. Can you just reiterate how much this work and how much you need that to get you started on something?
See, look at you making logical conclusions and doing my job for me. I appreciate that. So we talked about those homicides on Esquire Alley, and if you have any specific questions, we can bring the lieutenant back up. But that's exactly what this is. It's community cooperation. So you see, we took care of what was thought to be a property crime based off of one anonymous phone call. Every bit of information matters. We might go down some rabbit holes and some tips that don't turn out to give us good information, but I would much rather have too much information to filter through than no information at all. And it's very important that people be willing to do that. So we ask that you do that on all cases.
Is there anybody else expected to be charged in this case? Any other people that thought to be involved with that stolen car?
Anyone else expected to be charged? Not that I'm aware of at this time.
Can you say who that was telling him to just put his hands behind the back and stop resisting on the cell phone video?
I'm not sure. It was a bystander. I'm not sure who exactly it was. That was
his family or anything?
I'm not aware of who exactly was telling him to put his hands behind his back, but I think everybody wishes he had heeded their advice.
Can you speak some to police protocol? During the arraignment for this case, his attorney was saying that it was when the baton was there that's what made the gun go off, and that police protocol wasn't followed here. Can you speak to the protocol and if your protocol was followed in this situation?
I'm not going to make a judgment on adherence to policy and stuff like that right now. I'm going to wait for that investigation to pan out. We do have a typical use of force that happened here with the takedown and everything, so that process will go through. That being said, I'm still waiting to find lawyers that are experts on our policy. So he can say what he wants, but lawyers have never been held to a standard of truth.
Could you explain what the officer was attempting to do with the baton?
I believe so. What the officer was attempting to do with the baton was wedge his arm out, get some leverage to get that arm out from behind his back. If you saw, he was not striking him with the baton. He was just using it as a leverage tool to try to pull his arm out. Yes, sir, Roldan.
I had a question now related to the body cam footage. Is that all right?
Definitely.
Okay. I was just wondering, for over a month now, we've been hearing that the consent decree, there's going to be an announcement in the coming weeks. There's going to be an announcement in the coming weeks. Are you able to explain what the remaining issues are that are standing in the way of finalizing that agreement?
Yeah, and I don't think we ever said that there was an announcement coming. I think we all expected that this would have been done a long time ago. So as far as what the remaining issues are, obviously some of those are part of negotiations, but we remain committed to negotiating. We have some principles about what we want that to look like. They have some principles about what they want that to look like. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to succumb to political pressure and do what Baltimore did, which is rush it at the end and have mistakes in it that I think both the Department of Justice and the City of Baltimore wishes they had not done. We've been negotiating this for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, something like that. So we're committed to finishing negotiations in an appropriate way. The last thing that I want to do is go through 9 months of negotiations and ruin it because we felt some kind of political pressure in the last couple of weeks. You drive a car for miles and miles, nobody cares about how beautiful your driving was if you run into a tree at the end of it.
Let's do a couple more.
Do you have any updates on the renovations to
Yeah, so updates on the renovation of the new headquarters. The building's been stripped out. They're doing construction or remodeling on it right now, and we're hoping to start moving in sometime late next fall. So pretty excited about that. It'd be the first time in a long time that we've been all together in one place and have that central location that we can call a home.
Last one. Well, would you mind if I had maybe just two with Lieutenant Skaggs on Esquire Alley? You want to
Sure.
get an actor?
Well,
Sure,
that's
we can
fine.
do that really quick.
Come on.
Gotcha.
Come on.
They're at different points in time, but obviously it's the same block. You know, can you just talk about what that space concerns you is, and if you think maybe the same person is responsible? You know, what are you working with on this?
The concern is that there was 3 different homicides, not related, all in one city block, and that's the principal concern. The other question you had was which one?
Really want to know how many of these cases are solved with tips, and what would a tip in this case mean to, you know, unlocking the doors for you guys to solve it?
Tips are great. Witnesses are great because we weren't there. So what we need is people who know something, saw something, to say something. That's the biggest way we can solve these crimes. Our victim is deceased. They can't tell us who did it. So we need someone who heard something, or who actually saw the incident happen to tell us who was there, who might have been involved, or who was involved, who directly was involved. That way we can pursue that and that tip and find out, is that credible, is it accurate, and then make the appropriate charge once that person has been identified.
Last one, I promise. Can you just reiterate how this fits into the crime plan?
Well, because this is one of our sustained focused improvement areas. It's clearly been identified that this is a violent area close to the downtown corridor. That we need, that we have had very little success with those 3 particular cases, and that success that we have is entirely dependent upon the support we get from tips and evidence as it relates to the crime. So that's where we're really driving the message home on that particular incident, or those 3 incidents, that this is in one of those areas that we've identified that there's a serious problem. And it's not just those 3 homicides. There's other crime that's been occurring there, but we've identified that area as a point that we need to fix. You know, you start with the biggest problem. That area, having 3 homicides in one block, that's a problem. And obviously they're not related, but that's where we've identified that area is one of those areas where we need to focus in and solve that problem, and then we work down the list, going to other areas. But the biggest part that we run into is we need information to identify who's responsible, because obviously that's how we're going to solve the crime.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Hmm?